Honorable members, I call this emergency meeting to order. At this critical juncture, we have been called upon to urgently deliberate on the recent developments in the country that have a direct bearing on our national defense and security. The seriousness of the situation before us cannot be overstated. It is a time that demands our immediate and undivided attention, as well as the collective wisdom and resolve of this esteemed session. I wish to acknowledge the presence of all the members, our Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Defense Minister, the Honorable Home Minister, the Honorable Minister of External Affairs, the three service chiefs of our Army, Navy, and Air Force, as well as our National Security Advisor, as well as the opposition leaders of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Over the past 2 months, our nation has witnessed a significant escalation in security challenges. Most notably, intelligence agencies reported increased infiltration attempts and heightened militant activity along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. A major terrorist attack in Parliment resulted in the tragic loss of lives of civilians and security personnel. Investigations have indicated that cross-border planning and support, and with credible evidence linking perpetrators to groups operating from the Pakistani territories, in response, the government launched coordinated counter-attack operations, including Operation Sindoor, as well as precision air and ground strikes targeting terror infrastructure across borders. The armed forces were placed on high alert and internal security was strengthened throughout the nation. India undertook a series of diplomatic measures, including engaging with key international partners, presenting evidence of cross-border involvement, and urging global communities to hold Pakistan accountable for supporting terrorism. Following the intense hostilities, India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire on May 10, 2025. However, within hours of the agreement, reports emerged of multiple ceasefire violations, including explosions, artillery fire, and drone activity in Jammu, Kashmir, and Srinagar. India has accused Pakistan of breaching agreement, while Pakistan has issued counter-accusations. Both sides have directed their forces to respond appropriately to any further violations, and the situation across the border remains tense. As we assemble here today, let us be mindful that the discussions we have and undertake will have far-reaching consequences for the sovereignty, safety, and integrity of our nation. It is not the Parliament, nor is it a debate. It is a discussion for the present situation. I urge each member to rise above the partisan lines and approach today's deliberations with seriousness, decorum, and a sense of duty that the situation demands. Let us ensure that our discussions are constructive and with the utmost commitment to the nation's welfare. The nation is looking to us for leadership, clarity, and reassurance. It is our collective responsibility to demonstrate in unity in the purpose and resilience in action. I am confident that together we will address the challenges before us with wisdom and resolve. With these words, I now invite our Honorable Minister of Defense to appraise the session of the current situation and outline the measures taken to safeguard the interests of our nation. Honorable Minister, you may proceed.
Honorable Chairperson and respected members of this session, thank you so much for coming here on such a short notice. I know it's not easy, especially after everything that's happened, but this meeting is really important. As you all hear, we are here because of the terrible attack that happened in Parliment on April 22nd. 26 innocent people lost their lives in this attack, and it was clearly planned, targeted, and it was clear. So there is no excuse for what happened. So now we need to look at this situation carefully. What exactly happened, how we reacted, and what the current situation is, and what we need to do going forward. Let's start by understanding what happened. The attack happened near Parliment in Jammu Kashmir. A group of terrorists opened fire on civilians in a busy area. Early report shows that they had studied that area for days, so it was a random attack. Sadly, there was a small intelligence gap. There were some inputs, but nothing concrete. So that's the something we must fix before going forward. Next, our response. Right after the attack, we launched Operation Sindoor. I want to say clearly, our forces responded quickly and with full focus. They reached the spot first, secured the area and helped the injured people and started tracking the attackers. Within the hours, 2 suspects were caught and weapons were recovered. So yes, the immediate response was strong, but we also need to ask, can we improve the coordination between the intelligence and the action? That's what where we need some work. Right now, let's talk about the ground situation. Operation Sindoor is in temporary ceasefire phase. That means we have paused the active operation so that the rescue, relief and intelligence work can be done safely. But this ceasefire is fragile, so we cannot let our guard down. Intelligence teams are working hard and we are getting the inputs that there might be more people who are involved. So now the big question is, what do we do next? There are few clear steps. First one is strengthen the intelligence coordination. We need faster communication between the central and local units. If someone spots threat, it should reach the decision makers within a minute. And second one is strengthen the security in sensitive areas. We can't leave gaps. Extra forces may be needed for a while, especially in areas where people feel unsafe. And third one is track and catch every person involved. The attack may be over, but the mission is not. So we need to go after each person and each person who is connected to this. Stay connected with the local community. People need to trust because that we are here to protect them. We must work closely with the local leaders and listen to the people's fear. So as we all do this, let's remember 3 important things. Be honest with public. People are scared and they want answers. Let's give them a facts and clear updates, but not confusion, no confusions or no false promises. Fix mistakes if they happen. We are human. If something went wrong, we admit it, fix it and move forward. That's the real leadership. And work together. This is the not time to blame each other. This is the time to come together and support another and show the unity. We are stronger when we stand together. This meeting is open for discussion and if you have something, please say it. Let's plan what needs to be done and not just for today, but for the long term. So the country is counting on us to respond with the strength, care and clear thinking. Let's stay calm, act fast and move ahead with full focus. So thank you. Let's begin.
Thank you, Minister. Now I call upon the Honorable Chief of the Indian Air Force.
With your permission, everyone. As you know, the attack on terrorism on Parliment on 22nd April, I have some things to say. Upon confirmation, the attacks origin from across the border. Air Defense Command activated Operation Sindoor under high alert. Our radar grids, including the Akashi Command and control system, tracked and neutralized all aerial attacks attempted by Pakistan. Our Samar and Akshay systems intercepted incoming drones and missile threats targeting civilians and strategic zones in Jammu, Kashmir, Srinagar and Amritsar. I affirm with pride that no Indian military air force suffered damage and civilian casualties were completely prevented after April 24th. Working together under a joint command, our force carried out accurate airstrikes on key enemy locations. On the biggest actions was disabled Pakistan's Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, which was an important air base for military supplies. These strikes were carefully planned using live satellite information and were done in very controlled way to make sure no civilians were harmed. While the ceasefire agreement was reached on May 2nd, the reality on the ground has been different. For 11 consecutive nights, Pakistan forces violated the agreement, opening open fire and attempting drone incursions across the LOC of Kuampur, Baramulla, Rajdori and Medar. Our response has been measured, defensive and precise. The defense and attack machinery which were used during the operations. Akashi. offering real-time target acquisitions and coordination. S-400, deployed in Northern Command for long-range interceptions. Samar, Mobile Rapid Action Deployment Units. T-72, supported ground missile batteries integrated with air radar defense. At this moment, Indian skies are secure. Our early warning system airbase are code red alert. Some suggestions to the Parliament. Permanent deployment of Akashi system across sensitive border sectors. Approved of emergency defense project for drone detection, tech and AI guided defense. Formation of a joint air defense task force under parliamentary oversight. I assure the government house that the Air Force and Air Defense Command are fully prepared and defend every inch of our airspace. We do not seek war, but we shall never permit aggression. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I call upon the Honorable Chief of the Army.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this outlined operation not only on 6th and 7th of May, when Operation Single commenced, but also on the night being well aware and familiar with the coordinated and inclusive nature of advisory. And even though we did attempt to reach out the communicate our contribution to stay at the heart of terror or counterpart in the immediate wake of Operation Single. The request was brutally turned down, with the elimination of server response was innovation of two. We were of course prepared operation on the 7th and 8th Air Marshal. Air Marshal Bharati spoken about the night of 8th and 9th May. They flew drone and aircraft into our airspace all across the border and made a largely unsuccessful attempt to target numerous military infrastructure. So, the reason behind the lack of army in Parliment, the Bailasan area is the comfortably secured ahead of annual Amrit Yatra, which begins in June. It is the part of route of official open the security forces are deployed to ensure a safety of pilgrims who rushed at Bailasan and road. To the Amrit cave, according to the center, local tour operator allegedly began taking tourists to the region starting from April 20. Well before the security aperture had been mobilized for the pilgrim season. Government representative at the meeting stressed that local administrative and do not be informed about early commencement of tourist visit and those deployment groups are active in operations. In the Indian Army primarily used the Light Specialist Vehicle called LSV for the ground transport troops and weapons and ammunition along the Jammu and Punjab border. And the operation these 360 bulletproof LSV were crucial for navigating and terrain of operation under fire and standard by army. Additionally, the Indian Army utilized the variety of other weapons, including those designed and manufactured in India, as part of the operation. Missile development and manufactured in India were used in this operation. Other made in Indian weapons. And the Indian Army has employed domestically developed weapons as surface to air missile system. Bharati Dynamics Limited, a defense public sector undertaking, is involved in the manufacture of surface to air weapon system including ATGMs. Anti-tank guided missile ATGM and also generated ATGM and related equipment army were used for attack. Following the target Pahalgam terrorist attack, they are launched by commercial military response known as Operation Sindoor. This operation showcased the deployment of advancing individual defense system and the strategic military SST equipment and measuring utilized by Indian Army. Accept air defense. During Operation Sindoor, May 7 to 10 to 2025, the Accept system played the provisional role by inspecting and neutralizing every income drone and the missile from Pakistan with 100% successful rate. The indigenous air system demonstrated extensive performance safeguarding the nation during the large-scale aerial assault. In response to unprovoked aggression of the effort to aid tourist and infiltration, and the Indian deployed T-20 main battle tanks near the line of control LOC. In the Jammu and Kashmir Akhnur sector, the tanks equipped with the powerful 125-gram GMM guns and missiles with the range of 400 meters served as the cornerstone of coordinated defense operation involving air defense eligibility information unit. And ban scale of storage of army uniforms in the aftermath of attack where terrorist disconnected military Canfro targeted civilians. Authorities in Jammu and Kashmir imposed a ban of manufacture, storage, and scale of military uniforms to prevent misuse and enhance security. Massive indigenous defense procurement. Encouraging the self-reliance, the Indian Army undertook to report 85,000 crores pronounced rate to strengthen readiness post Pahalgam attack, known by 95% of exponent was targeted toward domestic vendors before seeing Indian make in Indian and Amitabh Bharat intuition. So thank you, Jay.
Thank you. Now I call upon the Honorable Chief of the Indian Navy.
Good morning, Honorable Prime Minister, respected members of Parliament and Chief of the Armed Force. I stand here before today as the Chief of the Indian Navy to present Navy's response, analysis and recommendations following the tragic and cowardly terrorist attack in Parliment. First, I offer my deepest condolences to the families of the brave souls we lost. The Indian Navy joins the nations in mourning this loss and stands ready to support all efforts to ensure that such an incidents never happen again. Even though the attack took place in inland in Jammu Kashmir, it is important to understand that terrorism is not limited by land or sea. It can come from any direction. As Navy Chief, my responsibility to protect the country from maritime threats, including infiltration, smuggling of weapons, and illegal movements through sea routes. Therefore, the Navy always plays a crucial role in our nation's security during such times. After the attack in Pahalgam, we immediately placed all coastal commands and naval bases on high alert. Surveillance was increased and all sensitive ports and coastal zones were secured. Our maritime reconnaissance aircraft and naval radars have been actively monitoring any unusual movements near our coastline, especially in the western seaboards. We are working closely with the Army, Air Force, intelligence agencies, coastal guards, and the National Security Council to assess if any parts of terror plan had connection to maritime routes. So far, there is no direct evidence that attackers come through the sea, but we are not taking any chances. All possible angles were being investigated. The Indian Navy has a specialized force called Marcos. These allied units are trained for high-risk anti-terror operations, even in inland areas. If requested, our neutralizing threats and carrying out joint operations, their experience in counter-insurgency and rescue missions make them a valuable asset in such situations. We have also deployed additional patrol vessels and fast attack craft in Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. Our aims is completely seal off any possible sea-based entry points that may be used by terrorists or enemy agencies. Both coast authorities and fishermen have been alerted to report any suspicious movement. While our current response is swift and strong, I would like to bring to the attention of this House the need for long-term improvement in our maritime security strategy. Terror groups are constantly looking for new ways to exploit weakness in our system, but we must not allow them any space to operate. Honorable members, the Indian Navy is always mission ready, but to continue protecting the nation, we need your full support in terms of budget allocation, policy updates, and fast decision making. I want to assure that the nation, that all our naval ships, submarines are on full alert. This attack in Pahalgam is a reminder that our fight against terrorism is not over. Every organ of the House, including armed forces, must work in harmony. The Navy will The Navy will continue to guard our coasts, protect our people, and support our sister service in any way required. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Now I call upon our Honorable Home Minister.
Honorable Chairperson and respected member of this section, a warm good morning to everyone. It is with heavy heart that I address the country today in the aftermath of horrific terrorist attack that occurred on April 22nd, 2005 in the Barsam Valley near Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. This horrific act of violence killed 26 innocent persons and injured almost 20 people, men, women and the children who had merely come to appreciate the beauty of land were among the dead, victim of an awful and cruelty. The arrogant perpetrators, who were recognized as members of foreign-backed terrorist groups, planned a carried out an inhuman attack against terrorists. They showed no mercy and their goal was clear to instill fear, divide people and disturb the peace of Kashmir. But I declare to them today that our spirit is unwavering and India stands united and we will not let such violence destroy us our spirit. The victim came from all around India, including our neighbor nation of Nepal. One of the case was a local horse rider who bravely attempted to protect the visitors under attack. I admire his bravery and sacrifice. In response to this tragedy, the government took quick action. Local people, army, helicopter and paramedic crews all helped initiate emergency evacuation efforts. The injured were brought to hospital and Anantnag and Srinagar, where they are now receiving the best medical care available. I do want to offer deep appreciation to the residents of Pahalgam who, despite the chaos, opened their homes and heard to assist the victims. The government of Jammu and Kashmir has announced an ex gratia to the families of those who have lost their lives and those who are injured. In addition, numerous state governments have introduced their own composition plans. The center will ensure that financial assistance is distributed quickly, fairly, and without an administrative delay. We are additionally establishing long-term rehabilitation measures such as physiotherapy support and trauma care for survivors, but particularly children. Team under the Mental Health Act have been deployed to help people in need. Security measures in the region have been significantly tightened. We have increased deployment in critical locations and have strengthened intelligence network to prevent future attacks. The cowardly perpetrators will be found and brought to justice. This is our sincere vow to the victims, families, and all citizens of this country. We acknowledge the devastating impact of attack and Kashmir tourist sector. The administration is dedicated to restore trust through increased security, and we are urge citizens not to surrender to fear. Kashmir is an integral part of our nation, and it will continue to thrive. To the people of India, I say this will be mourn together and stand together and grow together. Let's this tragedy not divide us, but rather strengthen our commitment to fight terror while preserving peace. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Following this, now our Honorable Minister of External Affairs will talk. Although he was not able to appear for this meeting, he has joined us virtually.
Honorable Chairperson, respected members of this session, I speak with you today with a heavy heart and on behalf of a nation grieving yet resolute. On 22nd April, a cowardly terrorist attack targeted a bus of innocent pilgrims in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. 26 precious lives were lost, including a Nepali citizen, and many more injured. They were not just crime against India, it was an affront to humanity and to every value we hold sacred in this meeting. India acted without delay. On 24th April, I joined the Honorable Home Minister in briefing the President of India The same day, we convened a high-level briefing for ambassadors and diplomats from over 20 partner nations, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. Our message was firm: terrorism will not be tolerated anywhere by anyone. In the following days, I reached out to my counterparts in Russia, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and Germany. We reaffirmed our shared commitment to counterterrorism and to ensuring those behind this barbarity will face swift and decisive justice. Our response has been both principled and proportionate. Despite repeated ceasefire violations, India exercised strategic restraint, but restraint is not surrender. On May 7th, we launched Operation Sindoor, a focused non-escalatory strike against identified terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. We did not target civilians. We did not target military installations. We only targeted those who threaten peace with impunity. Let me be clear: terrorism has no justification and no sanctuary. Nations cannot afford to be silent or be selective in this outrage. As I said on May 8th, neutrality in the form of terrorism only emboldens its perpetrators. We urge this august body to join us in rejecting all forms of extremism, the ideological radicalization that fuels such violence wherever it may originate and must be condemned and dismantled. India will not rest until justice is served. We remain committed to working closely with all of you through the UN and other global platforms to ensure such tragedies are not repeated. Let this be a turning point. Let us rise together to reaffirm that peace and justice will always prevail over hatred and terror. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will call upon the opposition leader of Lok Sabha. She as well is not able to join us, but will join us virtually.
Honorable Speaker, members of this House, today I speak not just as a member of the opposition, but as an Indian, enraged and heartbroken. What happened in Pahalgam was not just a terror attack, but it is a monumental failure of the government to protect its own people. Innocent lives have been lost, families have been shattered, and the so-called strong leadership we were promised is nowhere to be seen. November 2016, the Nagrot Army Base attack. July 2017, the Amarnath Yatra attack. February 2018, the Sanjuan military station attack. February 2019, the Pulwama attack. March 2019, the Jammu bus stand grenade blast. June 2019, the Indian paramilitary police were attacked in Avantipura, the Poonch Rajouri attack of 2023, the Riyasi attack of 2024, and now in 2025, the Pahalgam attack. How many more attacks, how many more martyrs, and how many more hollow promises? The current number of officers in the army is 42,095, while the authorized strength is 50,538. There is a shortage of about 8,400 army officers in the country and 92,400 soldiers. In total, a shortage of more than 1 lakh army personnel. There's arguments pointing out that the government is trying to save money on the army officers' salary and pension. Is that true? Vinay Nawal's sister cried in front of the Haryana Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini, saying that her brother was alive for more than 1.5 hours. If the army was there, he could have been saved, but there was no one. No one. During the Pulwama attack, more than 2,500 army men were refused to be airlifted and were sent together in the same convoy. 2,547 Jawans in one convoy with 78 vehicles. It's telling and shameful that Donald Trump knew about a Kashmir ceasefire before this parliament did. That's not diplomacy, that's a betrayal of our sovereignty. When foreign leaders are informed before the Indian people, it's clear this government answers to everyone but its own citizens. This was not just terrorism, this was failure. Let me say it bluntly. This is an intelligence failure, a security failure, and most importantly, a political failure. We are talking about a highly sensitive, highly militarized region. How did terrorists manage to execute such a brutal attack? Where were the security forces? Where were the preventative measures? And where was the government? And what do we get in return? Silence, excuses, denials. We demand answers, not condolences. We do not need another tweet from the Home Minister. We do not need pre-scripted outrage from ruling party MPs. We need answers and we need accountability now. I demand a transparent investigation into the security labs, immediate dismissal of officials who fail in their duty, a clear time-bound plan to ensure this never happens again, and a statement from the Prime Minister in this very house, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because let me remind you, this isn't just a law and order issue, this is a national disgrace. Stop the chest thumping and start doing your job. This government came to power on slogans of zero tolerance for terrorism. What we see today is zero accountability, zero preparedness, and zero remorse. You've spent years politicizing national security, using it to win elections, silencing critics by branding them anti-national. But then, when it's time to protect the nation, you vanish. Enough of the PR, enough of the drama. Stop the drama and start governing. Or step aside and let someone else do the job. We will not stay silent. Let it be clear, the opposition will not stay silent. We will not complicit in this failure by pretending everything is fine, because every drop of blood spilled in Pahalgam is a reminder of your incompetence. To the families of the victims, we stand with you. To the terrorists and those who encourage them with inaction, we are coming for you. And to the government, your time for excuses is over. The nation is watching and we are not going anywhere. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Now I call upon the opposition leader of the Rajya Sabha.
Respected members of the session, today I do not stand simply as a leader of opposition. I stand as a citizen deeply disturbed by the events unfolding across our borders and within our silence. The Pahalgam attack is not an isolated tragedy. It is a siren calling this house to look inward, to act outward, and to restore what has been compromised, our national preparedness. Pahalgam was not just a location. It became a tragic reminder of our vulnerability. The ambush of swift, strategic, and executed with chilling precision. This was not madness, it was meticulous planning. Were there any prior inputs or intelligence report indicating threats to civilian areas? Were there early signs, faint movements, or subtle patterns that should have drawn closer scrutiny? Perhaps they slipped past, unnoticed, or worse, unprioritized. In terrains both breathtaking and unpredictable, complacency creeps in quietly. When it does, the cost is measured not just in numbers but in lives. Why was there a particular location frequented by civilians and tourists, not under heightened security surveillance? If terror groups thrive on symbolism, why was such a symbolic and sensitive zone left vulnerable? Is this ignorance or intentional blindness? It is not the soldier alone who pays. It is the conscience of the nation every time a flag is folded over a coffin and handed to a family. While we mourn Pahalgam, reports of renewed ceasefire violation emerged. These are not random echoes, they follow a predictable pattern. When incidents follow a script, the problem is not provocation, but predictability. Predictability without prevention is a policy failure. Strong statements and warning may sound decisive, but their weight fades when ground realities contradict them. Security, when it's not present, it's like failure of preparedness. A place on record, my request for the armed forces, they remain our last line of defense. Their courage is unquestionable. But courage must be matched with clarity, command, foresight in planning, and consistency in action. Will the defense minister take responsibility for the lapse? Or will this be blamed on junior officers and forgotten? Blame games won't bring back lives. What people need is someone to stand and face the truth. As the saying goes, everyone's job is no one's job. We must evaluate if our response has evolved as fast as the tactics of those who wish to harm us. Operational reviews often come after damage is done. It is time to strategic anticipation, not reciprocative analysis. We cannot allow routine to replace responsibility. National security framework must evolve deliberately decisively and with dignity. As an opposition leader, it is my duty to give some suggestion to the government that it has to be looked into. Firstly, we must embrace transparent communication because of it, as in the Trump coming between the ceasefire and all that. In crisis, clarity is essential. Leadership's language must shift from guarded ambiguity to unflinching honesty. Second, build an integrated security architecture. Intelligence agencies, armed forces, and civil authority must not operate in isolation. Shared intelligence and streamlined command must be our norm, not after tragedy but before it. Are we heading towards war? Or is peace still an option? If war is possible, what measures protect our borders, our people at the same time? People want peace, but also protection. Can we guarantee both? That is the question our party or the House has to answer today. Thirdly, commit to a civil-centric border policy. Border population are not buffers. They are citizens. Civic defense is about preserving dignity, restoring normalcy must be continuous and not conditional. Fourthly, we must have proper reinforced ceasefire framework, not it being violated and us not being ready for it. Agreements without consequences are not peace, they are preludes. We must create mechanisms to track documents to respond to the violations with clarity and conviction. We speak of borders, but often we forget about the lives who live there. The fear, the trauma, the instability don't vanish with headlines. Long-term trauma rarely makes front page but lingers in classroom, hospitals, abandoned farmlands. They are all almost unspoken. Let this house lead by truth. This house must rise above party lines on national security. No one wins when citizens die, when the military is exposed, or when accountability is avoided. It is not about pointing fingers, it is about pointing the nation to the right direction. To the families of those we lost in Pahalgam, I offer not just condolences but a commitment to ask the uncomfortable, confront to avoidable, and to push for the right, because mourning is not enough, only change is. The nation does not expect perfection, but it expects progress, honesty, and above all, actions. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I call upon our National Security Advisor.
Honorable Chairperson, respected members of the session, as the National Security Advisor to the Government of India, I play a crucial role in planning and executing Operation Sindoor, a military action that targeted terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and TOK. The operation was a response to the Pahalgam terror attack, which killed almost 26 civilians and injured many more. On 22nd April, a terrorist attack was carried out on a group of tourists in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. The attack was claimed by a terrorist organization based in Pakistan. The attack was a brutal reminder of the threat posed by terrorism to India's national security. I worked closely with Prime Minister and other top officials to plan and prepare a response to the Pahalgam attack. We knew that the operation would require careful planning, precise intelligence, and a surgical strike to minimize collateral damage. The first step in planning the operation was to gather intelligence on the terrorist targets. We used a range of intelligence sources, including satellite surveillance, drone technology, and human intelligence, to identify the locations and movements of terrorist groups in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. With the intelligence gathered, we began to plan the operation in detail. We first identified 9 terrorist hideouts in Pakistan and POK, including LED's headquarters in Murukhe and JEM's headquarters in Bahawalpur. We plan to use Indian Air Force fighter jets to launch precision strikes on these targets. Indian Air Force launched Operation Sindoor, striking the terrorist hideouts with precision-guided missiles. Also, the operation was carried out with precision and speed, minimizing the risk of damage. The operation was a success with over 100 terrorists reportedly killed, including a terrorist The strikes also destroyed terrorist infrastructure, including training camps and hideouts. The operation received international attention with global media coverage painting India's actions in a favorable light. The US in particular was briefed about the operation, and our diplomats worked to ensure that the international community understood India's perspective. I was in charge of the control room set up for the operation, overseeing the execution of the plan and ensuring its success. The operation was not without its challenges. We had to ensure that the strikes were precise and minimized. We also had to be prepared for any escalation by Pakistan, including the possibility of retaliatory strikes. This operation was a bold and decisive action that sent a strong message to terrorist organizations and their supporters. As the National Security Advisor, I was proud to play a role in planning and executing the operation. The success of the operation demonstrates India's commitment to national security and its willingness to take bold actions to protect its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, now I call upon the Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you to all the ministers, including the army staffs and everyone, to be present at this meeting. Everyone knows that a few days ago our nation was tested by a cowardly terrorist attack in Parliment, as we all discussed about that, where we lost our brave soldiers and innocent civilians. People who were there lives peacefully, unaware that evil lurked nearby. But let me say this, those who thought they could bleed India have learned a lesson they will never forget. We executed Operation Sindoor, which was our strategic, comprehensive and a swift counter operation that has been successfully executed by our Army Defense and the Defense Minister, and including the National Security Advisor. Our forces have returned, heads held high, mission accomplished, having delivered justice to the enemies of peace. This was not merely a retaliation, it was a declaration that India will never tolerate terror on its soil or against its people. From the Chief of Army Staff, we have been briefed that all identified terror camps, training modules, and infiltration points across the line of control used as staging grounds for the Pahalgam attack have been completely neutralized. The Chief of the Air Force confirmed that aerial support was used strategically to take out high-value targets with real-time intelligence. Drones, satellites, and surveillance aircraft worked in harmony, a shining example of modern military capability rooted in discipline and precision. The Chief of Naval Staff defined and showed up the high alert of our maritime security grid. While the enemy's focus was landward, our seas remains impregnable. Surveillance over coastal routes, ports and naval zones remain tight and proactive. Our Defense Minister has assured that all operational logistics, intelligence sharing and strategic deployments were seamlessly coordinated. More importantly, Operation Sindoor has sent a message across the globe. India has the capability, willpower and readiness to strike when provoked, but only in the defense of the peace. He has also announced increased modernization efforts across all three wings of our armed forces. Tactical superiority, advanced technology and soldier welfare were now taken even greater precedence in our defense policy. The Home Minister has informed the Cabinet that the internal security measures are now at stage red in key sectors. Investigations have revealed significant leads into sleeper cells operating within and near our borders. Arrests have been made. A rehabilitation and support package for the families of the martyred has been immediately released. We owe them not only our gratitude but our enduring support. We also acknowledge all the points made by the opposition leaders about the defense and about all the developments which are needed for the security and for the development of the nation. Our External Affairs Minister has conveyed to the international community in no uncertain terms the legitimacy and necessity of Operation Sindoor, and the world has heard us. Global powers have expressed solidarity with India and condemned the terror networks based across our borders. Diplomatic pressure is mounting on those who enable, fund or shelter terrorism. We are building a coalition for truth that terrorism must never be rationalized. To every soldier who took part in Operation Sindoor, the nation boasts to you. You did just strike back. You defended our honor, our people and our future. To the families of the brave who laid down their lives in the Pahalgam attack, we cannot bring them back, but we can ensure their sacrifice was not in vain. To our young people, our elders and our citizens in every corner of India, I know this has been a time of anxiety, But let us draw strength from this moment. Let us remember that our democracy is strong because it defends the right to peace, that our unity is our greatest weapon against those who want to divide us, that our response will always be measured, just, and resolute. I still remember what late Atal Bihari Vajpayee said in the Parliament that सरकारें आएंगी जाएंगी पार्टियां आएंगी जाएंगी मगर ये देश हमेशा एक रहना चाहिए. And I'll be very happy announcing that at this crucial situation, our entire nation was standing together against this harsh time. We do not seek war, but we will not tolerate terror. Not 1 inch of our land, not 1 drop of our people's blood will be left unprotected. Let history record this day as one where India rose not in rage but in resolve. Let our enemies remember we are patient but not passive. We are peaceful but not helpless. We are united but we are not afraid. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Vande Mataram.
Thank you. Now for a final report. This emergency meeting was convened to deliberate the grave developments following the Pahalgam terrorist attack on April 22nd, 2025 and the subsequent escalation of tensions between India and Pakistan, culminating in military operations and a ceasefire, as well as its aftermath and violations. This session included the addresses by the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Defence, Minister of External Affairs, Home Minister, leaders of oppositions, Chief of Air Force, Army and Navy, and the National Security Advisor. This session was held on May 30th, 2025 and started at 11:30 a.m. A summary of the proceedings. The meeting commenced with the Honorable Defence Minister underscoring the gravity of the April 22nd terror attack. She condemned the swift initiation of Operation Sindoor and stressed the urgent need for enhanced intelligence coordination, reaffirming the government's unwavering commitment to justice, national security, and public trust. The minister further called for transparency, accountability, and unity in the national response to the crisis. The Chief of Air Defence reported a rapid activation of Operation Sindoor, which successfully safeguarded Indian airspace. He highlighted the effective deployment of Akash, Tir, Samar, and S-400 systems against aerial threats and detailed precision air strikes on strategic targets, notably disabling Pakistan's Noor Khan airbase without any civilian casualties. He recommended the permanent deployment of advanced air systems and emergency funding for drone and AI technologies, and the establishment of a joint air defense intelligence task force. The Chief of Army outlined and collaborated a robust military response, emphasizing the use of indigenous defense systems. He stressed the necessity for better coordination between civil administration and security forces, particularly concerning the unscheduled tourist activities, and reiterating the Army's dedication to justice, security, and transparency. The Chief of Navy emphasizes the Navy's crucial role in preventing maritime infiltration and supporting counter-terror operations, reporting heightened coastal surveillance and readiness of MARCOS units. He called for long-term improvements in maritime security and timely budgetary support. The Home Minister condemned the attack as a brutal assault on civilians by foreign-backed groups. He praised the swift rescue and medical response, announced ex gratia payments and long-term trauma care for victims, and highlighted the strengthened security deployments and intelligence sharing in the region. The minister urged the resilience and unity, reaffirming Kashmir's integral place in India. The External Affairs Minister stressed the global significance of the attack and India's immediate democratic approach. He called for international cooperation to isolate terror sponsors and strengthen global action against terrorism. National Security Advisor provided details on planning and execution of Operation Sindoor, which resulted in the elimination of over 100 terrorists. She emphasized the importance of intelligence and rapid decision making and minimalizing collateral damage, while reaffirming India's resolve to act decisively against threats. The opposition minister, sorry, the opposition leader of Lok Sabha expressed solidarity with the security personnel and called for a strong, transparent crisis response, urging improvements in intelligence and border management and regular public updates, while stressing the need to protect civil liberties and maintain communal harmony. The opposition leader of Rajya Sabha criticized the gaps in national preparedness and called for accountability at all leadership levels, highlighting the impact on broader communities and advocated for integrated civilian-centric security policies, urging substantive reforms and proactive leadership. In his address, the Prime Minister condemned the attack as an assault on India's unity and sovereignty, announcing Operation Sindoor as a decisive military response, marking shift towards zero tolerance for terrorism and its sponsors. He presented evidence of Pakistan's involvement and reaffirmed the government's commitment to security and called for national unity and resolve. The key outcomes and action from this meeting includes immediate steps to enhance intelligence and operational coordination across all agencies, permanent deployment of advanced defense systems, allocation of emergency funds for new technology, and continued financial, medical, and psychological support for victims and their families. Intensified international engagement to isolate terror sponsors and strengthen the global counter-attack mechanisms, and also regular updates to Parliament and the public with cross-party cooperation to ensure national security and unity. This session, representing the will of the people, stands united in its resolve to defend India's sovereignty, upholding the rule of law, and pursue justice for all victims of terrorism. The government is urged to maintain vigilance, transparency, and a bipartisan approach in addressing national security challenges. With this, the session comes to an end. Thank you.